Our headlines this are: ZAMFARA University students kidnapped by bandits. Tinubu moves to stop varsity from releasing academic records. Plus, UN demands Iran drop demeaning new hijab law. Hello and a warm welcome. This is News Live on Viewer Television. I am Chinon Supa. And troops on Operation Hakorin Damisa have uncovered a gun manufacturing factory in Kafanchang, Jama'a local government area of Kaduna State. The Nigerian Army, in a statement, said the discovery followed a week-long intelligence operation that finally led to the capture of a wanted gun runner, Napoleon John, who has been on the wanted list of OPSH. The suspect, who confessed to the crime, led troops to a concealed factory where arms of different caliber were sold by one Monday Dunia, when quizzed, Dunia confessed to having been in the business for more than 5 years, foiling the crisis in Kaduna and neighboring Plateau states. A thorough search of the factory led to the recovery of 22 different weapons, which included 7 pistols, 2 local fabricated AK-47 rifles, 2 military-grade AK-47 rifles, and 9 revolvers. And displeased with the United States Magistrate Court's order directing Chicago State University to release his academic records to the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, President Bola Tinubu has filed an application with the district court to halt the order's implementation. The magistrate court had earlier given Chicago University 48 hours to release Tinubu's records to Atiku. However, Tinubu alleged in a fresh application yesterday that the magistrate breached the Constitution by acting as a final court in such matters of discovery. He contended that the magistrate should only report and recommend to the district judge in such matters. Tinubu further argued that the magistrate court has issued what seemed to be a final order on September 19th, demanding immediate compliance starting on September 21st. In the motion filed by his lawyer, Mr. Kamikel, Tinubu emphasized that other courts, considering the authority of magistrates to the rule on sections 1782 applications, opted for issuing reports and recommendations. And the nominee for the position of Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Olayemi Kadoso, officially assumed office today. According to a statement by Dr. Isa Abdul Mumun, the Director of Corporate Communications at CBN, Kadoso, assumed duty as the acting CBN Governor pending confirmation by the Senate, who are currently on their annual recess. It was also noted that the Deputy Governor designates have assumed office following the resignation of the previous deputies. Similarly, the Deputy Governors designate have also assumed duty in acting capacities sequel to the formal resignation of Mr. Folashodu Shonubo, Mrs. Aisha Ahmed, Mr. Edward Adamu, and Dr. Kingsley Obiaro as Deputy Governors of the CBN. The Deputy Governors designate are MM Usoro, Mohammed Abdullahi Dantiju, Philip Ikeazo, and Balabello. The statement noted that Dr. Kadoso and his colleagues subscribed to the relevant oaths of office at a brief ceremony held at the bank's head office in Abuja. And still in Abuja, the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, has revoked lands belonging to the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Peter Obi, and the former governor of Cross River State, Leal Imoke, in Abuja. A notice issued on Thursday by FCT's Permanent Secretary Olushade Adeshola, Obi and Imoke's lands are part of the 165 plots whose certificate of occupancy was revoked. According to the notice, Wike revoked the rights to the lands because the owners failed to develop them. Aside Obi and Imoke, other prominent Nigerians affected include former Minister of National Planning Udo Udoma, a former secretary to the governor of the Federation, Ufot Ekaite, a former Edo North Senator Victor Oyofo, and the late publisher of the leadership newspaper, Sam Ndaizaya. Also affected are former Supreme Court Justice and Chairman of the 2005 National Conference, Nikki Toby, former Attorney General of the Federation, Kanu Agabi, Chidima, wife of former Aviation Minister Osita Chidoka, and Paul Nwabuku, media aide to the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Corporate establishments like BOA, Julius Berger, and Honeywell also had their allocations revoked. Since his appointment as FCT Minister in August, the former Rivers State Governor has repeatedly vowed to step on toes to correct the Abuja Master Plan. And students of the Federal University of Gusau in Zamfara State were kidnapped by bandits in the early hours of today. Reports say about 24 students were kidnapped after the bandits invaded the Sabongida community of the Bungudu local government area in the state. Sabongida village is a community opposite the main campus of the Federal University of Gusau that is about 20 kilometers from the state's capital. A student of the school said those kidnapped during the attack in the community were mostly female. A resident of Sabongida, Nazir Sabongida, explained that the bandits invaded the community around 3 a.m. and started shooting indiscriminately. The first group had left with the students while the second group engaged the army in a gun duel. You recall that in June this year, some students of the university protested the high rate of kidnapping involving the schoolmates in Sabongida and Damba. And when News Live returns, UN demands Iran drop demeaning new hijab laws. Details of this and more comes to you right after the break. Do stay with us.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm at the Envoy Hotel, Diplomatic Drive 305, here for a business weekend. It's been an amazing stay. Conference hall and business facilities here are stylish and innovative. The Envoy Hotel is luxury, esoteric, opulence, for ultimate comfort.
most discerning travelers, we are more than just a place to stay. We are an icon of comfort, style, and thoughtful luxury. We are Envoy Hotel.
Joining us, this is News Live on Viewer Television. Now a recap of the top stories. ZAMFARA University students kidnapped by bandits. And Tinubu moves to stop varsity from releasing academic records. Plus, UN demands Iran drop demeaning new hijab law. And now on security matters, Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Taraba State Chapter, has expressed worry over the deteriorating security situation in the state. Citing the past few days that kidnappers have been having a field day in Jalingo and other parts of the state, the association urged the state government to immediately set proactive measures in motion to address the issue before it escalates. The chairman, Dr. Isaiah Magaji, in a statement yesterday, expressed concerns that Jalingo and some communities across the state have witnessed worrisome kidnapping activities which led to loss of innocent lives, while families are forced to pay huge amounts of ransom. He also said those who could not raise ransom are still in the den of the kidnappers, facing ill treatment. Activities of kidnappers and armed bandits in the state have brought untold hardship and tears to some poor families in the face of the already tough economic situation. Report gathered says that kidnapping and other social ills are on the increase in Jalingo, Bali, Takum, Usa, and other local councils. To curb the situation, CAN has charged monarchs across the state to put in place mechanisms to checkmate the influx of persons into their communities. And in Plateau State, the Governorship Elections Petition Tribunal has affirmed the election, declaring Governor Caleb Mutfwang as the winner of the 2023 gubernatorial polls in the state. The tribunal, sitting in Jos, the capital of Plateau, and consists of a three-member panel, delivered its judgment today. It upheld the election of Governor Mutfwang of the People's Democratic Party after unanimously holding that the petitioner failed with the petition, which lacked merit. Justice Sunday Olunrodahunsi, reading the judgment, dismissed all three grounds canvassed by the petitioner and governorship flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress, Nentawa Yelwade, during the election in Plateau State. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, returning officer in Plateau State, Professor Idris Amaling, had on March 20th announced Mutfwang as the winner of the gubernatorial poll. INEC declared the PDP candidate as the winner, having scored 525,299 votes, while Iwate came second after polling a total of 481,370 votes. The results from INEC also showed that the PDP won in 10 local government areas of the states. These include Barkin Ladi, Basa, Langtan North, Langtan South, Riom, Mikang, Mangu, Just East, Kwanpan, and Bokos. And our stakeholders have urged President Bola Tinubu to implement pro-poor policies to help address major socio-economic challenges facing Nigeria. The director and chairman of the Center for Public Policy and Research, Sam Amadi, charged the president to depart from the trajectory of the economic policies of his predecessor and launch new policies that will reduce poverty. While speaking on policy formulation, Amadi, the keynote speaker of the event, said the government must expand conversation and involve different classes of people. Speaking further on the issue with journalists, he noted that the country lacked economic growth that improves the welfare of the poor. In November 2022, the ICIR reported that Nigeria had 133 million people living in multi-dimensional poverty, with 86 million from the north. Amadi advised that the federal government should not adopt all the academic economic policies and liberal policies without adapting them to the Nigerian context, adding that real growth occurring in Europe, Asia, and some African countries was after their leaders localized these theories. And the Bauchi State Governor Bala Muhammad has pledged to ensure equitable distribution of projects across the geopolitical zones in the state for the benefit of all, as well as for justice and equity. The governor stated this while flagging of 19 kilometers road construction, which is being implemented in collaboration with development partners on the Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project, RAM, a World Bank intervention program. Now, Bauchi State correspondent Awal Hassan completes the story.
The 19-kilometer road construction from Liman Katagun to Luda, which was flagged off by the Bauchi State Governor Bala Muhammad, is part of the Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing RAM project, a World Bank intervention program. Under the RAM project program, 18 states are to benefit from the huge amount of money that is in the basket, which is being contributed by the International Development Agency
to the tune of $280 million, and the French Development Agency LDA to the tune of $230 million. This is the money that is in the basket for the 19 states, not only Bauchi State. The 18 participating states of the Federation are to contribute about $65 million. Satisfied that this project development objective aim at providing access road in rural areas to both agricultural marketing in sustainable manner was in keeping with our own thinking. We wasted no time in increasing the momentum of the project.
The 19-kilometer road, which is earmarked at the cost of 2.4 billion naira, will open up the rural areas as put forward by the governor.
This will open up the rural areas the way and manner the coordinator has mentioned. We are doing things by justice and equity. We will make sure that this project is equitably distributed between the geopolitical zones of the state.
Earlier in his address, the Commissioner, Ministry of Special Duties and Rural Development, Farouk Mustafa, says Bauchi State has keyed into the RAM project with the aim of delivering all the project's development objectives alongside other 18 participating states of the Federation.
Accordingly, the State Project Implementation Unit that is committed and diligently following the World Bank procedures and processes for effective and seamless project implementation has been established.
The contractor handling the project promised to complete it within the 18 stipulated months. Awal Hassan, Viewer TV News, Bauchi.
And worried over the non-availability of ICT centers for JAMB and other computer-based examinations in the 9 local governments that comprise Adamawa South Senatorial Zone, Senator Binos Yarwa has distributed 71 laptop computers to tertiary institutions in the zone. The senator, who handed the computers to the heads of the institutions at a brief ceremony in Mayo Belwa, said the idea came out of his desire to see that students in his zone comfortably take part in computer-based exams and also enhance their computer knowledge. Senator Yerwa noted that he personally visited all 3 institutions and observed that they were lacking in the information technology learning atmosphere, which is now believed to be a driving force in the scheme of things the world over.
I have noticed that we lack such facilities in Adamawa South Senatorial District. We don't have a single computer-based test center. Our students, when they want to write JAM, they have to go to Yola or to Zing or to other places to be able to write JAM and other computer-based exams. So it is the desire to help in that regard.
Victoria Abubakar, the managing director of Al-Kaf Global Resources Limited, Partners of the project announced that the gesture was facilitated by the senator with a view to support information technology advancement in the zone. A representative of one of the benefiting institutions appreciates the senator while assuring that they will put the computers to good use.
Exams that have been held that are supposed to be held by senior secondary school students, and most of the registration that have been done online, they have no center, they have no single center in Adamawa South. Mostly the students have to go out of the districts to go and register and sit for their exam. And with that, there are a lot of challenges these students face.
He said, this is a school where I'm going to assist. I'm going to give you computer. And I want you next time, not only for your student, let's do jam. Because we lack centers for jams. We say, no problem, this one we will try to do it. Really, it's very surprising.
Live on Viewer Television, Business and International comes to you right after the break. Do stay tuned.
of polo, it's my life. Polo is good. Though I just started and I'm still learning the basics. But I hope to be a pro in this game, and God being by my side, I know everything will be fine. I started 4 months ago. I started stick and ball 4 months ago, though I attended the riding course in Pakistan. I've learned the riding basics, but the game of polo 4 months ago, I started stick and ball. Every day we mount on the horse, we pray. And once we come down, as you can see, I was about ending and I fell from the horse. It's a normal thing. In horse riding, if you don't fall, you've not started yet. So you need to train. You can see I'm sweating, I'm eating banana, it's part of it. You must train, you must eat well, and you must learn properly. I've chosen polo to be my own sport, and I've always looked up to people like General Kazir Fire, General MSA Aliu, Colonel Waibello, and General Laka. A few of them I've looked up to these people. These are great polo players, and they've always encouraged me to play the game of polo.
Thanks for staying with us on Business News tonight. The federal government may spend about 1.68 trillion naira as subsidy on premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol, from September to December this year. An analysis of data provided by oil marketers and the sector has shown PMS dealers stated yesterday that the pump price of petrol should be between 890 naira to 900 naira a litre, based on the fall of the naira against the United States dollar and the surge in the price of crude in the international market. Petrol currently sells at about 598 and 617 naira to a litre, depending on the location of purchase, fueling suspicion that the commodity is being subsidized by the federal government. The government and the NNPCL have not officially admitted that subsidy on petrol has been reintroduced. President Bola Tinubu had on May 29th announced ending the subsidy regime during his inaugural address. Meanwhile, the government subsidizes PMS through the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, as NNPCL is the sole importer of PMS. Other marketers stopped PMS imports due to their inability to access foreign exchange. And the ultimatum by the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, to the federal government to address the mass suffering and pains occasioned by the removal of subsidy on petrol expires today. The leadership of the Congress will meet next week to decide when to begin an indefinite nationwide strike. Report has it that the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, has been meeting with some members of the government team on how to avert the strike. It was also gathered that the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, and the Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Lalong, alongside the Vice President, are putting together a package including wage awards to be presented to the NLC leadership. Ahead of the warning strike, the National Executive Council, NEC, of NLC had issued within 14 working days or 21 days from September 1st, 2023, an ultimatum for the government to address the excruciating mass suffering and impoverishment experienced around the country, threatening an indefinite strike if government failed to address its demand. As the 21-day ultimatum expires today, we are told the critical organs of NLC will be meeting next week to decide on the indefinite strike and modalities if nothing concrete was done to lessen the suffering and hardship of Nigerians. The Nigerian Power Consumers Forum has condemned the spate of disturbances on the national electricity grid and the recent fire incidents around power transmission infrastructure. NPCF's convener, Michael Oko, raised the concern in a statement issued in Abuja yesterday. This was coming a few days after the Transmission Company of Nigeria stated that for over 400 days, the grid had been relatively stable. From independent assessment, which started last year and up to this year, the forum was able to confirm the various initiatives TCN deployed to stabilize the grid, including the use of Internet of Things and the deployment of the stopgap system as a placeholder for a smart grid system. OCO stated, however, just after the pronouncement of the efforts of TCN on grid stability, the power sector has recorded at least 2 system collapses in succession, all caused by a fire incident in the Birning Kirby transmission substation and line snap along the 33 kV Jeba Kainji transmission line. And these have caused nationwide outages, which the NPCF believes is to bring the management of TCN into disrepute. And the daily volume of trade on the Nigerian Exchange Limited increased by 98% to 1.12 billion units yesterday, as investors lost 35 billion naira at the close of the trading session. The volume of traded equities reported earlier this week stood at 566,631,350 units, worth 5.39 billion naira. Despite the surge in the volume of trade, the value of trade yesterday only increased by 8% to 5.82 billion naira. The total number of deals fell by 3.07% to 7,949 based on NGX data. The surge in the volume of trade was driven by Universal Insurance, which had 669,012,278 million units of its shares, what 134.21 million naira, traded in 148 deals. Owando PLC followed with 100,687,873 units of shares valued at 1.46 billion naira, overcharged in 1,656 deals. Other stocks with high volume of trade include Japil Gold, with 43,739,795 units worth 43.39 million naira. Access Corp with 40.1 million units thereabout of shares valued at 681.95 million naira, and UBA with 32.4 million units of its shares worth 552.75 million naira traded on the exchange. And Nigeria's trade with the rest of Africa increased by 40.8% year-on-year in the first half of 2023 to 1,839 trillion naira from 1.306 trillion naira recorded in the corresponding period of 2022. This represents a reversal in the declining trend of the nation's intra-African trade over the same period since 2020 in terms of value. Available data from the NBS show that Nigeria's intra-Africa trade in the first quarter of 21 amounted to 1.47 trillion naira out of total foreign trade of 21.79 trillion naira and 1.67 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2020 out of 14.55 trillion total foreign trade recorded within the period. The NBS data on Nigeria's external trade data with the rest of Africa also indicates that the intra-Africa trade is gaining more ground against total foreign trade recorded by the country in the past 3 years. The 1.839 trillion naira recorded in the first quarter of 2023 represents 7.42% of the total foreign trade of 24.78 trillion naira recorded in the period. And now on the international scene, the UN has called on Iranian authorities to scrap a new law that dramatically increases penalties for women who flout strict Islamic dress code, describing it as repressive and demeaning. The United Nations Rights Office said it deeply regretted the passing of the so-called chastity and hijab bill, which threatens Iranian women who flout the strict Islamic dress code, mandating head coverings and modest clothing with up to 10 years behind bars. The law vastly increases jail terms and provides for crushing fines on women and girls who do not obey the compulsory dress code. Spokeswoman Rivani Shamdasani told reporters in Geneva, in addition to long jail sentences and heavy fines, those found in breach could, under the same bill, be flogged and face travel restrictions. And now Rupert Murdoch is stepping down as the chairman of Fox Corp and News Corp, ending a more than 7-decade career during which he created a media empire spanning from Australia to the United States. Murdoch's son, Lachlan, will become the sole chairman of News Corp and continue as chairman and CEO of Fox, the company said in a statement yesterday. On behalf of the Fox and News Corp boards of directors, leadership teams, and all the stakeholders who have benefited from his hard work, I congratulate my father on his remarkable 70-year career, Lachlan Murdoch said. As Murdoch, who has near controlling stakes in both companies, will be appointed chairman emeritus when his resignation comes into force at a November stakeholders general meeting. Yesterday's announcement comes just months after Murdoch, of 92, scrapped a plan that would have reunited his media empire by merging Fox and News Corp. And the banned New Zealand long-distance runner Zane Robertson has appeared in a Kenyan court to face charges including attempted rape. Police say Robertson, who is serving an 8-year ban for a doping offense, is also accused of possessing an unlicensed firearm as well as unspecified drugs. The 33-year-old was arrested earlier this week in his adopted hometown of Ethane in northwestern Kenya after police officers were called to his house. Robertson denied the charges when he appeared before the Eton court on Thursday and was ordered to be detained for a further few days to allow police to complete their investigations. The next court hearing is due on September 28. He's alleged to have attempted to rape a woman after a birthday bash in his house earlier this week. According to police, the woman made a 9-time escape from the house and reported the matter to the local police station. York County Police Chief Tom McCurry disclosed this to newsmen. And the Rwandan man has pleaded guilty of killing 14 after the discovery of a pile of bodies buried in a hole in his kitchen. Dennis Kazungu, 34, was indicted with multiple charges, including murder, rape, forgery, impersonation, and desecration of human corpses. At a packed court hearing in Kigali, Kazungu confirmed the charges when asked by the judges if the prosecution allegations against him were correct. Kazungu was detained earlier this month after police discovered 12 bodies, most of them women, in the hole in the kitchen of his rented home in a Kigali suburb where he lived alone. The judge, however, said the case would continue to be heard in public. The court is due to make a ruling on bail at a hearing on September 29th. And that's all on News Live. But before we go, let's give you a recap of our headlines. ZAMFARA University students kidnapped by bandits. And Tinubu moves to stop Varsity from releasing academic records. Plus, UN demands Iran drop demeaning new hijab law. And many thanks for watching. I am Chinon Sopam. Please do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.